Hi, Leslie.
Hi.
So do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Leslie Joseph. I live in Agawam, Massachusetts, and I'm a former member of the Agawam Energy Commission, and I was a coordinator for the Cooler Communities Agawam Energy Challenge and Expo in 2019.
Yes, great. Can you say a little bit about what attracted you to the event and why you wanted to take on the amazing work that you did?
Good. I can remember when you came to our Energy Commission meeting and you talked about the possibility of having the schools becoming involved in a town expo. And I just thought that was one of the best ideas I had ever heard of. I just think it's, our children are learning so much about energy and conservation. They know far more than the parents do sometimes. And I thought, oh gosh, this is just something, quote, in my mind, I said, I could really get into this. I'm a former teacher, so it was a no-brainer that if we could somehow merge what the schools are doing with what the town is doing and present those side by side, it would just be a marvelous experience. So I was hooked at that first meeting.
Well, I think you also, yeah, like you already alluded to, you felt it was important too that the town actually got a chance to present what they're doing as a green community.
Exactly. And that was the third piece. That was the third piece, because when we started to sit down and organize this, we always thought about it being three pieces. It would be the schools, it would be the outside vendors and outside agencies that can help a town, and then what is the town doing, because Agawam is a designated green community, and they receive grant money, and they have done a lot, but how much of the town knows about what Agawam has done with that money? And they've done some fabulous things. They've replaced boilers, they've replaced lighting. It's just incredible what the town's been able to do, and I don't think its residents know that.
Right. Can you say a little bit about who helped you? Because you were definitely the main organizer, but you had some support. And, you know, if you would change the group of people that you had last time now as you move towards your second event.
Okay. Yeah, I really became a representative really by way of the Energy Commission, being on the Energy Commission. The chairperson of the Energy Commission was a part of the planning. He was doing some of the public relations work for the event. We had Mark Strange, who is the town planner, was a liaison on the Energy Commission, and he really was our main communicator between the town and the Energy Commission and things. And he was very active in the steering committee. We had the assistant superintendent of schools, and we had a science resource teacher sort of helping with organize the school projects that were going to be presented. And then my husband actually what really took care of soliciting the vendors, the solar vendors, the heat pump people, other groups that might want to you know, be a part of this expo to make residents aware of what the possibilities are.
I think you mentioned maybe next time you might want to include a student or two.
Yes, I think, well, and this is really just from hearing about other events and planning, and the student volunteers who helped with our expo. There are such marvelous kids, especially in the high school age. They are so interested and they're so enthusiastic, and they know what to do, and they've got the energy to do it. And I think that to incorporate students in the planning and the execution more would be a great way to go for future events.
Yeah, that's actually great. We've been actually thinking about that.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about speaking to someone who's just starting to actually come to the decision to organize an event like this, what would you tell them? What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, the first thing I would do is I would say talk to Uli Nagel and get the plan book, because I know I know that you now have a great organizational plan for these kinds of expos. Um, and I think that we started, and I would probably start the same way. We really started by exploring, to what avail would the schools be able to be involved in this, and the town would be involved in this, and what kind of vendors, sort of getting a basic broad outline of how we see this event. And it's going to change. The plan is going to change a little bit, as we were talking earlier. The timing of the event, when you time it, might facilitate, you might want some kind of food, or what kind of activities. You want to make sure that it's friendly for people and comfortable for people to come. We tried to offer some childcare. Consider the needs of the population you want to visit, and how can you make it easier for them to get there and stay there and be a part of it.
Right, and just to let the listeners know that your event happened after school on a weekday.
Yes, it was, after school in May, right.
Right, because sports was already on their way at that time.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned maybe going forward, you might be including some presentations, like short presentations on certain topics.
Yeah, there was a lot of interest, and we had a family member really interested in heat pumps, and he was a conservative sort who really wasn't going to say, I want a heat pump because it's going to be better for the environment, but he was listening to the vendor, and he really became very interested in it. And we actually have a heat pump in our home, so we followed through a little bit so that he can really take a look at it. What does it look like? And how much does it cost? And does it really do a good job? And it really was an eye-opener that he really sort of, received it very positively. And I think that was really good, because he's put up a lot of resistance for some other things. We thought it might be good to have some short workshops, like 10 to 15 minutes, talking about solar energy. What are the options for solar energy? Not a cell, but an information. How can it be possible for you, living in Agawam, to explore this possibility and, one, save energy and save money? And we thought 10, 15-minute workshops might be a great way to do it on changes that you can make in your house. So.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, not as a sale, but as an information.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yes, that's great. Is there anything else you can think of that you would want to talk about, that we haven't touched on yet?
The other thing is, I just want to say two things. One, an incredible part of this expo, of course, came from the schools. They did an incredible job, and I'm a former teacher, a former science teacher. It was so wonderful to see a developed curriculum from kindergarten through high school devoted to energy use and energy conservation. Our children are learning how to be good citizens of the planet every year that they are in school. And it's wonderful that they had an opportunity to share that. And they could share that with their parents, and they could share it with other folks who came to the expo. And I just think there was volumes to be learned. And to have that side by side with vendors who were showing these folks, so this is what your child's learned, this is how you could implement this in your home. I just thought it was an incredible pairing to have in one setting.
Right, in a very non-threatening environment.
Yeah.
I think it was interesting that we had some entertainment at your event, which didn't really pan out as being very interesting to people. But and it was also interesting that there were art projects as well as science projects, as well as plants and things like that. So people wrote these beautiful limericks. I think a very young kids wrote limericks, and that was fabulous.
It's there's so many ways to take this information in. and to have it become meaningful. You know, there's not just one way. It's not, you just have to tell them what to do. It's just making it a part of the way they learn, the way they think. You know, not one compartment. It's the way we need to live, you know, on our planet, you know, so everything is connected. And I think that's just a really nice way. So, and the curriculum showed that. The curriculum absolutely showed that, from kindergarten up through high school. So
That's very beautiful.
yeah, I thought it really was incredible. And not many school districts have an opportunity to do that. You don't get to see that vertical alignment, and it's like, wow, wow, look at that growth. Look at that growth. It's incredible. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you. I just want to comment one last thing is that your idea of involving residents to explain, you know, some of the technology or some of the ways in which people can live more healthy and sustainably is also good, because that, when you just said everything is connected, that brings more players into the circle.
Yeah. And we know that it's usually just the fear of the unknown. So if you have a neighbor, someone you're familiar with, telling you about something, you're going to be received in a different way than if a stranger is going to say that same information to you, you know? So it's just really nice. If we could, I would certainly suggest that we build more on that for the next expo.
That's great. Plus, we'll emphasize more the actions that the town has taken and the results for the town.
Yes, yes.
And yeah, that's really great as a green community.
And Agawam does a lot. It's just incredible what Agawam has been doing. And another component of this was the recycling, the commitment to recycling from the town, which and composting and all of that, it can be a part of this as well. It's not just generating electricity.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.